So hi everyone, this is Jiggie, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, let's answer that question. What is the difference between a speedlight and a strobe? But before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel and would want to learn more about off-camera flash photography, or maybe just photography in general, then this channel is for you. So you might want to consider subscribing, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to see some of my images that I used using a speedlight or a strobe, you could always follow me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. So what is really the difference between a speedlight and a strobe? So let me show you. This is what you consider a strobe, and this is what you consider a speedlight. So the most common question is that, are both flash units? Yes, definitely. This is a strobe flash, this is a speedlight, both are flash units. They basically emit a strong amount of light in a short span of time. That's basically the definition of a strobe, or a speedlight. It's a flash. So just like what the name suggests, it's a flash. It just goes pop, then that's it. You've got that big burst of strong light, and then it's gone afterwards, as compared to continuous light like LEDs that I'm using here now for the video. It just gives me continuous light. Now, the big advantage of these things is that obviously they create more power than what this continuous light is giving me. But the question really that confuses a lot of photographers is that, is there really a difference between the both of them? Well, physically there is. Practicality, maybe, but purpose, no. Because again, they're all just both flash units, and the purpose of these flash units is to give you that additional light that is needed whenever you are shooting outdoor or in the studio, or any type of artificial lighting scenario that you want to do, and you want to have the best possible quality of light in terms of, well, let's put it this way. Of course, the quality of light is dependent on the modifier, the size of the modifier. There's a lot more technical stuff to that, but I can honestly say, if you want the sharpest images possible, shoot with a strobe. It just tends to make the images that tiny bit sharper. When I say strobe, I'm referring to this one and to this one. In other words, shoot with a flash. Okay? So what are the main differences? Obviously, it's going to be about the size. The speedlights are technically hot shoe flashes. It mounts on top of your camera. That's what it was built for. So that when you're doing events, or you want just on-camera flash and you want to illuminate your subject straight on, then it is a very, very good alternative to those pop-up flashes that you see in older camera systems, because the newer camera systems decided to really just get rid of all those pop-up flashes, or the more professional ones, and recommend that you use something like this even if you just want to shoot on camera. Obviously, this one, you cannot put it on camera. This one was really meant for the studio. In other words, this is AC powered. It's very strong, it's big, but it gives a very good quality of light, or stronger light, than these tiny speed lights. But what's the purpose? Again, it's both to just illuminate your subjects. Now, in the past few years, there has been a gray area already, because one of the biggest advantages of a speedlight is portability, because you can bring it anywhere. Studio strobes are meant to be plugged in an AC outlet, so it's very difficult to use. Speedlights, from as long as I can remember, once they started using off-camera flash, I remember using speedlights off-camera, also using a long TTL cord, only because it allows you to do high-speed sync. In other words, it allows you to shoot way beyond your flash sync speed, and that is something that these studio strobes couldn't do for the longest time. But right now, there is something in the middle. This is your standard studio strobe. This is your speedlight. Then, of course, you've got lights like this, like the Photix Indra. The Photix Indra is a studio strobe, so it has 500 watts of power. This is actually just 400 watts, and this one's even more powerful than this. This one's about 60 watts. So it's got a lot of power, it's got high-speed sync, and it's, where is it? Here you go, battery operated. So technically, the difference between a strobe and a speedlight is insignificant already, because you've got so many flash units like this that marry the best of what the speedlight can offer and what the strobe can offer. So in other words, we live now in a time of photography that off-camera flash photography is no longer that difficult, because the equipment is already there for us to easily learn. And you've got videos like, or channels like myself, like what I do here, and I teach off-camera flash photography with equipment that's readily available now, like this Photex Indra or this one. I actually hardly use studio strobes anymore because these old studio strobes, you can't even adjust the power from the back of your camera. When all these things, because of the technology that's built into them, you can really adjust the power from the trigger itself, which makes life so much easier. So that's basically what a speedlight or a strobe does. It's a flash. It gives you that really fast burst of light, whether it be powerful as 60 watts or powerful as 400, 500, 1200 watts. That's all it does. It just gives you light. Now, of course, the practicality of having a small speed light like this has its advantages. Something like this has its advantages, and something like this will have its advantages also. Like, for example, if you're shooting in the studio, you'd want non-battery operated ones because they recycle faster. In other words, when you take a shot and your flash fires, there is an amount of time that it takes for the flash to recycle for it to give you enough power to get that shot to burst, give another burst of light. If you're battery operated, it's dependent on, of course, the battery pack. But normally, it's not going to be as fast as the studio ones or the AC powered ones. But there are some exceptions, like the super high end lights that just really recycle so fast, even if they're battery operated. But again, the downside of that one, if you're battery operated and you're shooting, let's say, a whole day, and you're going to shoot about 2,000 images, those batteries won't last 2,000 images. Again, an AC powered strobe would work. This one is still relatively bigger than a speedlight. There are options for smaller ones, but this one does the job of what this one will do and what this one will do. So this is a good in-between. It's not actually even a middle child for me. This is like the merger of both, right? So these types of strobes or these type of flash units are the ones that I would actually recommend. The high power ones, the ability to be battery operated, and sometimes there even ability to be plugged via AC using an adapter. So, but again, it's still not, it doesn't recycle as fast as this purely AC type of lights. But I still do love my speedlight also because of the sheer portability and size. And there are times that I don't really need that much power. Let's say I am shooting with this one with 500 watts. Then I decide I want to shoot outdoor at about 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. Then I want to bring in a little bit of ambient light. So that means I will have to boost up my ISO. Then I might shoot wide open. 500 watts, even if I dim it down to its lowest setting, will still be too powerful for that particular lighting scenario. And that's why I still love having my flash units. The speedlight, sorry, because they are weaker. So if I dial it down, I can really just have that tiny bit of light to focus the light on my subject and make them pop out from the scene. So each and every light will have a particular difference. But in terms of asking the difference between a strobe and a speedlight, yes, that is the difference. But in general, they are just flash units. They are meant to give light. And these are different types of light that allows you to do that. It's like, again, having an APS-C sensor versus full frame. Not even actually, because there is a big quality difference there. I would actually say that these things are more comparable to a 24 to 70, 70 to 200, 16 to 35, or your prime lens. I would rank this one, the battery operated studio strobe, as my 24 to 70, meaning my all around. This one could be, let's say, an 85 or 70 to 200 that I might use just for the studio, but of course I don't. But you get what I'm saying. This one is like your tiny prime lenses that you just want to bring around as your walk around lens. Oh, one last thing to consider. Speedlight would need an adapter for you to mount any type of other modifier except for maybe a mag mod system that attaches directly to this. But if you want to mount those really big, inexpensive modifiers that are Bowens mount, then you might want to buy an adapter for this one, such as, let me see if I have one here. I think I have one here, such as this one. Such as this one, the Photex Cerberus. In other words, you can mount your speedlight here. It allows you now to mount Bowens type modifiers. As you can see here, this one already has a built-in Bowens modifier or Bowens mount. So you could attach any modifier that you want here that's a Bowens mount. This particular light is an Elechrome, so it's got its own Elechrome modifier. But of course, if you want to use Bowens type modifiers on Elechrome lights or adapters for it, or just buy a Bowens mount Studio Strobe, which is relatively more inexpensive than the Elechrome ones. But of course, the more expensive the lighter the light quality as well. That's just me. Okay. Now you could also see that the light, oh, here's another big difference. I forgot. The light coming from these Studio Strobes are very circular and they spread out evenly in all directions, up, down, left, right, and forward. This one too, you could see, since I said that this one is technically a Studio Strobe, it's got the same type of bulb. However, Speedlights have a rectangular bulb. So it's just, when you look at the light, the Speedlight goes this way, this thing's spread out evenly. So whenever you're using this one with a modifier, it really maximizes the modifier, meaning you get light in the entire modifier that just gives even distribution of light. That's why these things, whenever I am using this with this one, I tend to put the cover here in front just to distribute the light left, right, up, and down. If not, it's just going to go straight and in one line. So you're going to get a bit of spill here on top, a bit of spill here in the bottom, but most of the power of the light is coming from this general direction. That doesn't really give that even distribution of light whenever you're using bigger modifiers. So, but again, that's a little bit more than the simplicity of what this video is really supposed to be about. But if you want to learn more about that, feel free to browse through some of the videos in my channel because I have a ton of instructional videos there. Now, if you have any questions with regards to this video, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And I hope you liked this video. And if you did like this video, subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, click that notification bell. Now, if you want to see how I use these things or the output of what I do, you could always follow me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. Okay, till the next video.